The only Owls team in action takes another loss on the road.
While a former Owl finishes his first professional season on a high note. OwlSports Update starts right now.
Boom! Don't be scared. It's just another edition of OwlSports Update. Alongside Jackson Neal, I'm Brooklyn Vaughn.
Temple was spooked last weekend against Memphis, and that sets up an important Halloween matchup at Tulane.
Another big week ahead for the Owls as they head to New Orleans to take on the Tulane Green Wave.
It could be a good opportunity for Temple to get back to 500 in conference, as Tulane is currently in last place with an 0-4 record in the American and 2-4 overall. Rod Carey, though, describes Tulane as a team that can be dangerous on both sides of the ball.
We're going to work really hard situationally, like we do every week, but we're going to put a little more emphasis on it this week and just really drive that in and get that going. I think maybe other parts of other teams maybe had stronger position groups, but all around, this is the best defense we've played. This is a good senior-led football team. The quarterback's not, but a lot of other seniors around there. We know this personnel well, so this is going to be a tough game.
And now to continue the conversation as Temple prepares to take on the Green Wave, we now welcome reporter Tyre Hood to the show. Hey, Tyre.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
Now, Tyre, Tulane is leading the AAC in rushing yards per game, while Temple is allowing 190 yards per game. What do the Owls need to do to contain this Green Wave offense?
Well, this defensive line is definitely going to have to step up over these past 3 games. They've been really underperforming. If they could dominate at the point of attack and limit this Tulane rushing game, it can be a really good thing for the Temple Owls. However, on the good news, Uvandy Rigby is coming back, according to Coach Rod Carey. So that's definitely some good news for this defense.
All right, and speaking of injuries, Anthony Russo undergoing an MRI on his shoulder. Still no word on his status. Say he is healthy, though, for this week. How do him and Tulane freshman quarterback Michael Pratt measure up?
Well, seniority-wise, with Russo being the 5th-year senior, he definitely has more experience on the college gridiron. However, Russo's definitely going to have to clean up those turnovers. He's increased his turnover rate over these past 3 games, so that's definitely going to have to be cleaned up. He talked about in the press conference, how in the quarterback room they talk about 6 inches. So if he can really work on getting that ball within the 6 inches of the receivers, this could be really good news for the Temple Owls.
Well, thanks so much for coming on, Tyre. It's always a pleasure.
Carey mentioned a veteran Tulane offense, but that doesn't include the QB. The Green Wave starter is freshman Michael Pratt, who has made quite an impact. Pratt has thrown for 690 yards and 7 touchdowns with 2 interceptions since taking over. He threw for a season-high 215 yards with 3 touchdowns and 1 interception in the 51-34 loss to UCF. And arguably Tulane's most dangerous weapon is sophomore receiver Jaquan Jackson. On the season, Jackson has recorded 10 receptions for 159 yards and 4 touchdowns. He also racked up 180 all-purpose yards and 2 receiving touchdowns against UCF.
Kickoff for this weekend at Tulane is set for noon on Halloween. To watch the game, you can stream it on ESPN+. Also, make sure to follow along at OwlSports Update on Twitter, where we'll be posting game updates. The Owls will be looking to bounce back this weekend after their last road trip didn't end as planned. Last Saturday, Temple took on Memphis down in Tennessee in a matchup between 2 teams who were 1-1 in conference and looking to get above 500. We pick it up in the first quarter, where Memphis quarterback Brady White avoids the pressure on his 1st and goal and throws his first of 4 touchdowns on the day, this one going to Taj Washington. To the second quarter now, where Temple trails 7-3 and Ramon Davis looks to be stopped in the backfield, but makes almost half the Tigers defense miss as he goes for a 30-yard gain all the way out to midfield. To the second half now, where the Owls lead by 2 before White connects with Calvin Austin III, and you aren't catching him. The Memphis native was a track and field all-conference selection in the 4x100 relay last year. Still in the third, the Owls now down by 12 before Russo rolls out to his left and throws across his body to Jaden Blue for the touchdown to bring Temple to within a score. The Owls continue to trail in the fourth quarter, and although Russo completes a big play to Randall Jones here, down inside Memphis' 20, the Owls' comeback attempt falls short. Final score, Memphis 41, Temple 29.
We're beating ourselves with turnovers and penalties, and we've seen it in all three games. So, we're confident that we can go out and beat any defense that we go against. But we're also, pretty ticked off that, we continue to hurt ourselves.
I just kind of feel like the defense didn't play to the standard we were supposed to play at. Regardless of how many turnovers the offense had, like we've been in this position multiple times, I feel like we could have just fell back on our training and then completed the assignments and executed the assignments that we were supposed to.
As Amir Tyler says, the defense is just not performing to the level they had to in this one. Temple falls to Memphis 41-29. White had a nice showing with receiver Taj Washington being a huge target for him. As for the Owls, Jaden Blue had 13 receptions for 115 yards and 3 touchdowns. While Russo only completed 41 passes for 63 attempts and was picked off 3 times, he did throw for an impressive 387 yards for 4 touchdowns.
As the weeks go on, Temple still looks to be far from a complete team. OwlSports Update's Sean Carpentier comes on to tell us more about the Owls' continuous struggles.
Temple and Memphis stayed on brand this weekend, with too many mistakes to win a road game in the AAC. Fumbles, interceptions, and questionable decision-making cost the Owls, especially in the third quarter, when they turned the ball over on 2 of 3 offensive plays. Despite nearly mounting a comeback, the Owls' mistakes throughout the game had already sealed their fate.
3 games into the season, and we've learned a couple things about the Owls. They play close games, and they seem to be their own worst enemy.
Picked off, receiver fell down.
Temple's 3 games this season have been decided by an average of 4 points per game, so coughing up 4 turnovers in the game against Memphis turned a winnable game into a frustrating loss.
Just too many mistakes. That's plain and simple.
Of the 4 turnovers, 3 of them came off of interceptions from Anthony Russo.
Matter of 6 inches, and we say all the time in the quarterback room, a good quarterback from a great quarterback is 6 inches, and ball placement is pivotal, and it hurt us there and hurt us a couple times today.
All 3 are concerning to me for all completely different reasons. And certainly Anthony has a hand in that, and we've got to take care of the ball better.
Turnovers never make it easy for a defense. The Owls allowed 24 points off their 4 turnovers, with 21 of those points coming in the second half. Even with all these giveaways, the Owls' defense has still allowed 30 points in each of their first 3 games.
First down, touchdown.
And they hit a couple big plays. Give them credit. They get coached too. Certainly situational football we'd like to be a little bit more key and better in. But, yeah, we got to obviously hold them down.
The Owls will get a chance to go 2-2 on Saturday when they face a 2-4 Tulane team. This might be a good opportunity for the offense to find some rhythm against a Green Wave defense that allowed 51 points against UCF last week. From OwlSports Update, I'm Sean Carpentier.
Temple's trip to Tulane will be their 3rd road trip in 4 games. While these road trips may seem long for some players, for one Owl, traveling has just been part of the journey. OwlSports Update's Lindsay Mopper has more.
From Hawaii to California to Kansas, and then finally to North Broad Street, it took 3 years and about 5,000 miles for Temple football's offensive lineman Joseph Keone Kaimipono Hooper to move eastbound across the United States. Coming all the way from the town of Waimea in Hawaii, Hooper is one of the only players from Kamehameha schools to make it to a Division I program.
So the island that I play on, most people really don't make it to where I'm at.
His journey across the U.S. started in California and then to Kansas. He was given an opportunity from Butler Community College. And playing at a Division I school was in the plan all along. At this point in his college career, things were looking up. This was all put on pause after experiencing a minor setback for the bigger picture. During his time at Butler, Hooper underwent shoulder surgery. His dreams of going D1 were slipping away until Temple stepped in.
I got that offer, then I decided. They believed in me, even though I was kind of I looked at myself as an injured good.
He brings his unique skill set of being a good football player and always coming to play with passion.
After dedicating 12 years of his life to football, Hooper is hoping Temple will be his latest stop, but not his last stop. Reporting for OwlSports Update, I'm Lindsay Moppert.
Let's talk hoops. And while we continue to wait for an official schedule, it is not too early to take a look at the revamped roster. It's safe to say that there are plenty of unfamiliar faces on North Broad.
Temple fans are going to have to take a look at the game program to catch up on all the new names and faces on this year's team. Coach Aaron McKee completely overhauled his roster this offseason, bringing in several new recruits and luring in some new transfers.
They are attempting to make up for losing 7 key players. The Owls lost 3 heavy contributors to the transfer portal and 3 to graduation, including Quentin Rose, Temple's leading scorer and the all-time scoring leader in the AAC. Game day is a little less than a month away, and Coach McKee and his team are working hard to rebuild their chemistry in order to succeed throughout this upcoming season.
To replace these losses, Temple is adding 6 new players, including 2 transfer students and 4 incoming freshmen. The biggest name coming to North Broad is former ESPN Top 100 recruit Khalif Battle, who is transferring from Butler after playing in 24 games for the nationally ranked Bulldogs last year. Among the incoming freshmen is point guard Jaleel White from Wildwood Catholic, who will bring size and shooting to the Owls' backcourt after averaging 17 points and 3 rebounds his senior season. With this new wave of talent, McKee is focusing on size for Temple, as the average height of the new additions is 6 feet 7 inches.
Temple doesn't know its full schedule, but the Owls do know that their opener is set for November 28th. And with these changes, we wanted to bring on Inside the Nest reporter Josh Safran, who works football in the fall, but little did you know he is a basketball guru. Hey, Josh.
Hey, Brooklyn. Thanks for having me on.
Now, Josh, how do you expect this change in height to affect Temple's style of play?
Well, the biggest change of height has been with the guards. You got these 6'5 guards, these 6'3 guards. I think that's going to be huge on the defensive side of the ball with that extra length. And the Owls have been making the steals and clogging their pass lanes, their bread and butter. I expect that to continue. And on the offensive side of the ball, I think having guys like Damian Dunn and Khalif Battle, these guys get to the basket so easily. That's going to draw the defense in, and I expect J.P. Mormon to be open on the corner and the wing. Expect J.P. Mormon to take a little P.J. Tucker role and knock down some more threes this year as a result.
All right, Josh, who do you think is going to make the biggest impact for the Owls this upcoming season?
Well, that's a great question, and I gotta go with Ty Strickland. This guy is explosive, and biggest of all, he hustles. You see all the step back jumpers and handles on everyone's highlight reel, but Ty Strickland's got all these chase down hustle blocks, and that's what I love to see. The thing is, though, he's coming off shoulder surgery, and we're not exactly sure what we're gonna get there. If we don't see him play, expect a bigger year from Jake Forrester. I think he's got tons of potential, tons of upside. Now with another year under his belt, let's see that come into play.
Well, thanks so much for joining us, Josh. Great stuff as always.
Thank you, guys.
One of the reasons there is such a large turnover for men's basketball is thanks to players wanting to go pro. But this is the case in many sports at Temple, including men's soccer and forward Lucas Fernandez, class of 2019. Fernandez got a chance to play pro this fall with the Pittsburgh Riverhounds.
Making the leap from college to professional athletics can be difficult for just about anyone. But one former Owl has handled the transition well.
It's too easy.
Lucas Fernandez played his last season as a Temple Owl after graduating in the fall of 2019. Right out of college, he received professional interest from the United Soccer League team, the Pittsburgh Riverhounds.
I wasn't too sure what to expect when I got there, but it was a little overwhelming for sure when I first got there because there was about 50 other players. You know, every man for themselves. You got to do what you got to do to get seen.
In Fernandez's first season with the Riverhounds, he appeared in 12 games and started 3 of them, racking up 2 goals and 5 shots on target, giving him the second best minutes per goal on the team.
Honestly, I don't think I'd be here in this situation if it wasn't for Temple, honestly. You know, being from in North Philly where things don't go by lightly, you have to work for everything you get. And I think, it definitely shaped me into a better person, a better, player on the field.
Lucas Fernandez, the substitute.
And here at Temple, Fernandez led the team in scoring during his junior and senior years. And he was known by his coaches as a reliable player who could come up in big moments.
One that popped up on my timeline today was his goal at Louisville last year. To see that happen and see him score a goal to win a game of pretty big significance for our program and putting us kind of on the map again was pretty cool.
Once you make it that transition, I had to find a lot of different things to do in my spare time, I guess.
Now back home in Rochester, Fernandez is looking forward to spending time with his family and continuing training in the offseason. For OwlSports Update, I'm Brooklyn Vaughn.
As we wrap up today, Twitter Talk. Last week, we asked you who you think Temple's toughest remaining opponent is. While no one thinks the Green Wave will be that difficult this weekend, half of the respondents say the Owls' November 5th matchup with SMU at the Link will be their toughest test yet. This week, Temple men's basketball is picked to finish 10th in the 11-team AAC preseason poll. Will the Owls prove the pollsters wrong? To vote, go to @OwlSportsUpdate on Twitter and make sure to follow us while you're there.
And that'll do it for our coverage today. JJ Myhowski and Courtney Murphy are back on the show next week.
For Brooklyn Vaughn and the entire OwlSports Update crew, I'm Jackson Neal. See you next time.